girls missing, but they didn't disappear within those 24 hours. But what it did do was bring attention, a national attention to this issue. With me today to discuss this is the sisters from Black Lives Matter. Right over here we have Katasha Williams. She's the Director of Operations for BLM, Black Lives Matter. Sitting next to Katasha is E. Francis. She's Chief of Staff. And also next to E is Kamala Millwood. She's the Director of Communications, correct?
Yes, correct.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank
you know, this is very dear to me because when it first came out, the source came from Washington, D.C., where I'm from. And I know, I forgot how we are just not remembered. We're forgotten, or we're dismissed, you could say. But here we are, we're here, we're going to talk about it. What's going on? What is going on here?
I think what's going on a lot is that a lot of times when you are of color, you are forgotten, you're placed in the back, you're overlooked, and it's very important that former news anchor Gwen Ifill, she coined the term white woman syndrome to reflect that unless you're white, you're blonde hair, blue eyes, come from upper middle class, and you're missing, no one really cares. We can think and remember cases of Natalie Holloway easily, but you ask someone to list the name of one black girl that's missing, no one knows the name because we're not having this stressed on our news media outlets because it's not important to them. So we knew that we had to bring this to the forefront. Therefore, that's why we decided at Black Lives Matter for New York, us women are going to come together, put together a march on April 9th, and bring awareness to this issue that needs to be eradicated.
Okay, here's what I have an issue with, not a problem with. It seems like when this thing came out, nobody didn't know about it. And it came out big, but now it's died down. The momentum, it seems like, has gone. That's what I'm picking up.
So let me speak to that. I have to say, probably in media, maybe, but maybe not really. So let me give you a little bit of scenario. Before DC, there were cases where, because we're on the ground, where people called me up to say something happened to my daughter. So there were stories already circulating in our neighborhoods about something happened to my daughter. I thought that she was running away. She was missing. I was looking for her. I was going to the precinct. I wasn't finding help. And someone said, I spotted her on this corner, or I think I saw your daughter. Is she wearing a weave now? I'm not really sure. Then she would come back home, and all of a sudden it's like she had this different look, this different attitude, then she would leave again. And so it wasn't until someone told her, who works on the national, the state level, with ACS, could it be trafficking? And when she went back to the precinct and said that, the narrative changed. The narrative changed. Because she had to know the buzzwords. She had to know what to say. She had to know what direction to go in. She was giving a picture of her daughter. And then the police would go, wait a minute, is this your daughter? Completely different look. Hair, weave,
Do
nails.
they look older or something like that?
They
or
look,
just totally different?
They look it's a total transformation because they become now a product. Their bodies are a product. So that's when we talk about they are being sold into slavery.
So that's what's happening, you think, with the majority of the missing girls or runaways or what have you?
So yeah, because again, it's about how are you looking at the narrative, okay? The narrative is the problem, and that's where the perception and awareness. What did you want to say about that, Katasha, about narratives?
So the narrative definitely is important, and you touched on a word just now that I really had to jump on a little bit when you say runaways. So a lot of time police and the media tend to frame our girls who are trafficked as runaways. Granted, there are some children who run away from home, but that doesn't mean that they should be written off. Statistics have shown that within 3 to 5 days, a child who had run away from home has been entered into sex trafficking. So
Even less than that.
Remember, you can call the show with any questions at 212-757-1393. That's 212-757-1393. Let me ask you all this. What is the percentage of runaways from the missing children? How many of them are kidnapped? The percentage
There's
of
a problem with
kidnapped
that.
and the percentage
That's
of,
the problem.
Okay, how about nationally? Not
That's the
just black.
problem.
Nobody knows
That's
that?
the problem. It's very elusive,
Yes, it
the
is.
statistics. Because what are you saying? One, you have to know what you're looking for. How do you count it? Most people who have been sex trafficked are not self-identifying. Okay? So you can't, unless they self-identify, and not many are going to self-identify. A lot of times it gets lumped into domestic violence, right? So
When
domestic
you talk
violence.
about for children?
Oh yeah, domestic violence. It's because it's still a partner. It's still a partnership. So your boyfriend and you get into a fight, right? But how old is your boyfriend? Your boyfriend could be older than you, much older than you, but that doesn't stop you from saying that's domestic violence that happened. So age has a lot to do with the commercially, sexually exploited children. Right? That has a lot to do with sex trafficking and how it's defined. So there's where the states are starting to say, well, sexual consent in New York is 17 to have sex.
That's, yeah, okay. We
Okay.
discussed that. Me and Zaki were talking about that last night, yeah.
Okay? So now what happens when she's 17? Is this still sex trafficking? Is she still really missing? So missing, let's just talk about the definition of missing. 24 hours, someone underage is missing. You can report your child missing. The question is, if you don't see that child after that, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, what are we doing to look for them and where do we look?
Where do you look? Katasha, what do you, I mean,
Most
what
people,
do you,
most people start with the police because they feel like, okay, my child is missing, let me alert the authorities. But we know the authorities sometimes say, oh, you know, has there been any issues at school? And teenagers, the hormones are going crazy. The brain is not completely developed. And you're like, well, maybe my kid didn't get in trouble a few weeks ago. And that's how they try to connect the dots. But like we stated before, that's not really it. So where people need to be looking is within their communities. They need to start with their
Really?
neighbors. Have you seen my daughter? A lot of times people want to keep things within their family
what I was about to
private.
say that.
But
That's,
this here
yeah.
is an issue where we have to ring the alarm. We have to stop
Yes.
saying, oh, well, I'm going to mind my business, or let me sweep this under the rug. Now is not the time for this. It definitely isn't, because we have to count on one another.
Yes.
And so what really happens too, you know, in addition to all of this is you look at a kid that goes and you say, oh, he just got into the wrong crowd. Oh, they're out there. They're out there. What does that out there mean? What does out there mean? And if you hear the word that she's in the life, that's lingo.
Yes.
That's sex trafficking lingo. In the life, what does that mean? Do you really know what that means?
And let's talk about these thoughts.
Right,
Some
thoughts.
people might want to
What
write
is
the children.
thought? What's that
that
acronym
hoe
for?
over there.
Okay, I never knew
or
that.
sluts, or you know, someone, a child who's promiscuous, who's sexually promiscuous. Sometimes it's not this child just wants to be sexually promiscuous, but maybe this child is being trafficked. They have a pimp who's saying, well, after school or in between school, well, you're not going to go to school today, you're going to go out in the streets, you're going to make some money.
Yes.
Maybe I'm going to take you away for 2 or 3 days and come back home, and you're going to go to school next week, but make sure you maintain your grades.
You know,
And you got to add to this though, right?
Right.
So again, you're talking about the sex trafficking person, but remember, it can happen right in your backyard, and the way it starts, you got to get to the root or take a deeper dive. Most of the children that have been trafficked have been sexually abused at home. There's a great number that have been sexually abused. So it starts in the home.
Yes.
So that's why you got to look at the home
it's something
first.
that they're used to. It's not, you
They're
know,
used to-
somebody, a predator coming to them is nothing new, it's normal maybe.
And it's not just a predator coming to them. Right now, we have social media. We
Right.
have a lot of people going into chat rooms. When you tell your daughter to go to bed at 9 o'clock at night and she's on her computer and she's in a chat room talking to a 50-year-old man, you know nothing about that. You know, she's giving information away. Where do you live? You know, and where can I meet you after, you know, tomorrow? The parents know nothing.
What do you
And what
need?
about
She's
the,
being lured.
What about the 15 and 16-year-olds, and they're so excited to go to work, and they meet someone near their schools and say, hey, I have a job for you, come for an interview, and the first interview went really well, and the second interview, bam, they're gone.
I remember when I was working at McDonald's at 16 years old, this guy came in. He was a much older, good-looking gentleman, and I was in love with Billy D. Williams at the time. And he looked just like Billy D.
Wow.
So when he came to my cash register with his deep, sultry voice
Yes.
and asked for these French fries and cheeseburger, he said, "Are you married?" I almost died. I almost died. And he came back and came back. So that's
Sounds like he was luring her.
yeah.
He was trying to figure out who you were and what
Right.
did you need. Remember,
Right.
they are meeting a need.
Right.
They're meeting a need that is not at home. And why do they know that? Because they're listeners. They're great listeners.
Right.
They're the best therapists you ever had. They talk to you uninterrupted. They flash things around you. Recruiters flash. We know now from one of the recruiters we work with closely, Tony D. Rivera, that recruiters flash around girls during prom season, during shop season, when they want something.
Yeah, Tony's
Right?
here right now, but we're going to talk to her later
Yeah.
on about
But I just
how
wanna
she
make
got
s-
into
right.
it and how she recruited other
Right, but
women
the
and
point
all.
is that they flash things around of things that girls want
But
and
are-
boys want.
But are the missing girls and runaway girls, are the majority of them lured into sex trafficking, or they're just missing? I'm just asking.
They can be lured into a lot of things because human trafficking covers the gamut
Yes, it
of
does.
labor,
Right.
right? Get wages. They call it slave labor, right? Wages. They can be in all types of things. They can be into counterfeit. They can get into a gang ring that they ask them to do other types of crimes.
So what do you all do? What kind of clients, I'm going to say that, what kind of girls do you all deal with that have been missing or runaways or what have you?
So personally, most of the youth that Katazi and I work with are 16 to 24-year-olds. They are on a 4th to 6th grade reading level. They're coming to a program and programs voluntarily,
4th and 6th grade
reading level, okay? Which means that the city has called them disconnected youth. Some people say at-risk youth. I say potential youth because they have possibilities. They're possibilities. But they come, and these are the students that you look at some of the behaviors, the trauma-informed environments, and the trauma behaviors that you see, the triggers. And a lot of it starts to make sense when you get the kind of training that we've gotten. And you meet people that have been in this life, and you say, wait a minute, you don't have an ID. You don't have that ID. You are new to the neighborhood. You got lost a couple times to come to the site. You're very sleepy. Whenever there's food, you're gorging food.
Ravaging, yeah.
Right? You're disoriented. You're also moody. You go off a lot.
212-757-1393. She's talking about you. 212-757-1393. Call in. These sisters are here to talk to you, to help you. I'm very serious. That's why I reached out to them. When you all get these clients, you said that
So we don't know. We can't say they've been trafficked. What we can say is something is going on. Take a deeper dive into this youth. You have to get someone that they can talk to. That could be anybody. That could be anybody. That could be a case manager. It could be a therapist, but mostly therapy doesn't work. Just the fact that you're an opening, listening ear and you're a youth advocate starts to understand that positive youth development begins with listening. Listening, not for judgment. No judgment zone. But as you understand the lingo, the things that they're saying is happening to them, you can start to put together the narrative and help them understand, wait a minute, what's going on? Are you okay? How can I help you?
Kamala, what are the stories have you heard? Do you deal with these youth?
Yes,
What are the stories
yes.
have
I mean,
you
the
heard?
stories that are coming in, it just runs the gamut. I mean, you have someone who is missing, but then they return home 2 days later. Like you were saying earlier, they return home with a different look. A lot of times the parents will just think, oh, just
This
being a
is
typical
not-
teenager.
Right.
The parents should sit down and talk with that child. Where were you for 2 to 3 days? Why do you look so different? What's the hair about? What's the makeup about? So a lot of times you're being trafficked in your own house,
Right.
under your parents' roof, and they have no idea because you're not thinking on the level of their daughter being trafficked. And it's not just girls; it's happening to boys as well.
And transgender communities.
Yes, it's horrible. A lot of times the transgender community, they go into these shelters and it's happening within the shelters. It's happening all over. People are going into churches and going into schools.
Churches.
Yes.
They just had they arrested a minister
Yes.
who was
And that's
molesting kids.
typical.
Yes,
That's
yes.
typical.
Right.
Because what do we say about what happens in your household stays in your house? And the other piece of it is the indoctrination of the religion of the shame. The shame is part of the coercion.
Yes.
Biderman's theory of coercion really talks about that fact. There's a part of it is humiliation. So if I make you do an act, I humiliate you, make you feel shame for it, you're not going to tell anybody.
Katasha, the girls that run away from home, are they coming from single parent homes or what?
Oh, these children are coming from all types of homes. So
What's the majority? Is it single? I'm just asking. Because my dad, he was with us. He was an alcoholic, but he was he was with us and all that. That guy, I I could not bring this late 20-something-year-old guy into my house. I knew that because of my father. Well, and I say that because I hear that a lot. You know,
Well, let's get this out of our
because her
minds because this
daddy,
is happening
the
to
daddy's not
everyone.
there.
Yeah.
And we're here to speak about our people and our black women and girls. Since about 2001, maybe, don't quote me too much on the date, 64,000 black women and girls have been missing.
Yes.
This is where our conversation began.
Yes.
64,000.
64,000.
And how we got, and a lot of people don't know that, which is very alarming because of what Kamala spoke about, the missing white woman syndrome.
And
But
Amber
how
Alert.
and how we
Oh,
got to
yes.
sex trafficking is the recent cases of many disappearances. It's like, okay, what is going on here? And why we're going to stay on sex trafficking is because this is a $1 billion industry.
195.
That's a
okay?
lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
And it's more profitable and easier than selling drugs.
It
So what
is.
really is
Selling
happening
humans.
and why we need to stay on the sex trafficking and really
Right.
and really raise awareness is because unfortunately people who have been in the drug business in the game for a long time are now saying, hey, let me switch over to this.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna get busted on the corner.
And I want to just get back to this part. I'm not going to sit here and start labeling families and households. There are a lot of families and households, single or together, not single, blended families that do very well. And why do they do very well? Because they are communicating with their children. They are protecting their children within their household. These are things that happen where in adolescence, yes, children naturally pull away from you. That is part of the development.
Absolutely.
The point is they pull away and they don't communicate, and why? Or their needs are not being met and the parents have no idea. And someone out there has a better idea or deceives you in thinking they have a better idea. You want to be a model, you want to be a dancer, you're really good at this. You get the self-esteem. The low self-esteem piece, I don't care what family you come from is the issue. Whether you have a father in home or not. The point is if your self-esteem is not healthy, you are very vulnerable to things that come your way. And this happens for grown women. The
Right.
grown women can become recruiters tomorrow as well. You get up, man. You say, "Oh, finally got me a man," and he comes into your house and he's everything that to you, and then all of a sudden he says, "Baby, I need you to go shopping for me." Now you tell me you got this man. He does everything for you. He's provided. You're like, "Oh my God, I got everything going on. I want to get married one day." What does he mean by shopping? Oh, just find me a couple girls for what? Next thing you don't even know you're involved.
Or what
You
about-
identify where girls are just for him. So it's really important that we understand we're all vulnerable to a Biderman's coercion theory. We are very vulnerable.
No judgment zone.
No
212-757-1393. 212-757-1393.
I just wanted to
know. I'm gonna let you. I know that there is somebody that is dealing with this and don't know what to do. That's why I have these sisters here. 212-757-1393.
I just want to give another example. What about the strong, independent woman who may have lost her job and she's been looking, not too much luck, and she come across something. Yes, I finally got something. I go into the job interview. It doesn't seem too right, but you know what? This is going to be a fresh start. It's been hard. Let me get to it. Something still doesn't seem right, but you know what? I need this job. It's been 6 months. It's been 8 months. Now they're saying, oh, okay, well, it starts off in one way. It's like, oh, do a little paperwork here.
Yes.
Do a little this, and now you're going to come out with me. Now you're going to help me recruit. So a lot of times it's not just a scenario where there's low self-esteem, or it still has self-esteem and some.
It has some aspects
Yes.
of it, but the bottom line is how it looks. It
looks-
is different
it's
for
different
everybody.
for everyone.
For everyone, and that's why they're having a big fight in New York about the UN and human trafficking, because they get a lot of people to come and work for them from their countries, and what happens is they come under the pretense of come here, be a nanny, go to college, and next thing you know, they're the ones that prime targets for sexual assault and sex trafficking.
Let's go way back. I want to go back to the job. Times are tough right now. You know, teenagers, they're growing into their womanhood. They want to look nice and what have you.
course.
And they need a job. How do these people recruit these girls? When you said, the job, what is the a clue that this is not right? They go on social media What's happening? Because I get
I'm
this
a
all the
mother,
time.
I'm
They
a mother
become your
of three.
boyfriend.
And always trust your instinct. If I have to give that message, trust your instinct, which is hard to do, especially as a young woman. Take someone with you. Have someone wait for you outside. A young lady on exposed what happened to her on Twitter.
But you have to understand, these become your boyfriend. I met my boyfriend online, or my boyfriend and I are dating. He is my boyfriend. He is my
Online,
boyfriend.
yeah.
I love him. We are doing things together. Okay, I'm gonna get a tattoo with his name on it. Or like they're doing now, they're barcoding girls. He's my boyfriend. He asked me to just do this one time, one thing, because he needed some money. I'm helping him out. We're building a family. We're gonna be Beyonce, Jay-Z, right? And I ride or die for my man. And you ride or die right into having yourself sold into slavery. So because he's a boyfriend, he doesn't come under the guise of a pimp or a predator.
Okay, I'm still not clear on this job. And when okay, I hear you talking. What comes in my mind when I get these emails, $500, $600 a week?
Yeah, those are
yeah.
part of it.
That's what I'm talking
flag.
about. Are
Those are
those
flags.
the
First of
clues?
all, when you're looking for a job, you need to look in reputable places for jobs, okay? A lot of times you can't look into these newspapers because a lot of times they just want the person to pay the money, put the ad, and that's it. There's no checking of the background of where the source is coming from. You don't look into a newspaper to say, models get paid $1,000 a day,
Yeah, that's
call
what I'm
now.
saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
you don't do that.
They've
You
been
don't do
around
that.
for years, though. Those have been around for years.
Yes, that's how they recruit.
That's been around
You
for
know, yeah.
years. Everyone understood the casting couch, the way it plays out. You meet a guy, he says, I'm going to get a part, you sleep with me for it. And then in your mind, you think, what? It's my fault. I consented to it. But did you? Did you really consent to that?
You know, I was about to say.
Did you really? That's coercion.
Right,
What
right.
was the promise, and why now? Because he has the authority and over you. The abuse of power comes into play. So we're talking about act, ways, and means. When you talk about sex trafficking, you have to look at the whole picture. So this has been going on for a long time. The issue is that it's making a lot more money than
Yes.
drug sales and gun sales. It's probably tied right now with gun sales in the United States.
Really?
So why not do that? I met a pimp, okay, who did sex trafficking. Unfortunately, yes, he was with a gang. Unfortunately, his gang did go down, but he didn't go down for that, so he's so lucky that he went down for something else months before they got caught. Part of it was sex trafficking. I asked him, how did you get the girls? He said it was easy. He said, all I had to say was, well, you doing it for free? You want to make some money?
You're already having sex.
He
Might as well get paid
said,
for
you
it.
already doing this person. He knew the shame of it, embarrassment. I already know you did that, and I know you did that. He was like, why not do it for some money? Next thing you know, they said, okay. Next thing you know, he got a ring of people. He's found a little spot for them to be at. He's found a trap house, an abandoned building. He's found a room. And now he can sell them.
So we're saying that runaways and missing girls definitely equals sex trafficking.
I'm not going to say that.
Human trafficking.
You can
Human.
say you have to go a
Right,
deeper
right,
dive
right,
into
right,
what is
right.
she missing. Was she abducted? Was she kidnapped? That's talking about.
Right,
You're talking
right.
about the ways in which she comes into this. Was she transported? Is she being harbored? If your boyfriend says to you, "You can't leave my house. You have to stay here," what is that already? Why I got to stay here? You can't leave. Now I got to go to the means, right? Let me see. So you have to say the means. Okay, well, you're not. Okay, well, I'm going to call your mother, and I'm going to tell her this, or I'm going to kill your family. Or if you go to the police and say something, right, you're going to be in trouble. Already there's a fear factor there. You're going to do whatever they tell you to do. One, because he said he loved you. Two, you said you trusted him. Now you got this barcode on your thing. You got a tattoo. So you're not leaving. You mine. I own you. They don't get any of their money. They get none of their money. They might take you out for your birthday, but they're not giving you anything. You are there working a quota. You are now on a shift. You have to go out and make enough money through these sex acts or whatever acts. So when you say equals, let's talk about, is it all equal? We can't say that because a lot of the girls that I know did a lot of things. They
Right.
did that and then
Right,
some.
Right.
Whether
right.
it was counterfeit, whether it was, credit card scams, there's a lot of things.
So a lot of the girls, I want to get this clear, a lot of the girls that run away or are missing.
Let's just say missing.
Let's say missing.
We've neglected them. We've neglected the black women.
But okay, let's say I will go with runaways right now. they're not leaving, they're not running away to go into sex trafficking.
They're running away from something.
They're running away.
You got to find out
I
what
want
that
to get
is.
that clear.
Yeah,
I just
right.
want to get that clear. They're not running away just to go into sex.
They don't know they're going into
they
it,
don't
so
know.
no.
Right.
Run away. You can be running away from anything. You're running away from a bad situation at
Right,
home.
yes.
You could be a runaway because you're distressed. Trauma will make a kid have a lot of
But
reactions.
by you leaving your house or leaving or running away, that you're becoming vulnerable.
You're very vulnerable.
Even when you're
you
not
become
running away,
a
you're
victim.
vulnerable.
Your vulnerability is
And
vulnerability.
the reason why I say let's just say missing, I get the point that where you were going with let's use the runaways at that time. Why, for me, it's important to say missing children because that places the blame on the victim again, and that's something we have to really move away from.
So how prevalent is this?
Prevalent.
How do you all
Prevalent.
get? How many calls or people coming up to you do you all get? Like a
Well, you have to
daily
also
or
understand
weekly?
that a lot of times people don't really take this seriously when it has to do with girls and women of color because the Amber Alert system goes and follows license plate numbers. So
Right.
if you're living in a hood, you don't have a car,
Right.
you're not in your house, there's no
Right.
Amber Alert because there's no license
So
plate.
there's not a system
There's
for
nothing.
the city girls.
There's
you could
nothing.
say.
And the other problem that we have here, just in New York alone, we have hundreds upon hundreds of police precincts. Only 6 have a sex trafficking unit.
Right.
6.
And Reverend Q put this on de Blasio's plate about looking at sex trafficking. She has a thing called Not in My Backyard. Okay? And we're part of that training. Reverend Q is very powerful. She goes into faith-based communities and she talks about sex trafficking, and it really hits home. It really rattles people. But guess what? She has a situation where she trains people, trains a trainer. Then she has safe houses. She says, do you think people have been trafficked? She has places for people to go if they want to get help. Remember, it's about when I'm ready, I'm going to go. But I'm so afraid to go. But they have, in New York, they've done more than enough in terms of trying to bring awareness. The problem is that when I talk to people that I know, they say that's not happening. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That store right there? Okay, so let me give you that.
Okay,
I'm gonna give you that.
let's start with that. The
store.
stores.
I'll tell you
okay,
about the
that's
stores.
something new. Okay, what's happening with these stores?
So
get
the
ready.
stores do a lot of things.
what type of stores are these?
Bodegas.
Bodegas. And it could be braid shops, it could be tattoo shops, it could be
So you have girls in the stores.
No, this is how it doesn't work. No, let's work it back.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
rewind it.
Okay.
Because you can't go so fast with it. That's the thing. You gotta catch it. Then you know what I'm saying. A lot of times there are rules in school says you can't bring your phone to school. Okay? You cannot bring your phone to school. If you bring your phone to school, either your principal may have to take it or just no phones. Your parent says, I bought you this phone. You better keep up with this phone. Okay? Bingo. Somebody has now, it's talking about supply and demand. Well, guess what? The demand is, oh, wow. Bodega says, I can hold your phone. I can actually hold your phone for a price. So I'll charge you by the hour. You're in school for 6 hours, that's $6. $6 a day. Kids are taking their phones to the bodega to be charged sometimes or to be held for the school day.
Okay.
Then now $6 a day turns into what in 5 days? 6 times 5 is
$30.
$30.
I was never good in
$30. So now, what 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old has $30 that they can pay the bodega? $30 times 4, okay, is what?
120.
120.
So they go out
So now
and-
you owe me. You owe me now.
How you gonna pay?
How you gonna
No
pay?
job.
How you gonna pay? I got you in the body. I
So
got
you're
you
talking
in it.
about these bodega owners, they will be,
They're part of it.
They're part of the problem.
They're part of it. They can sell somebody
they
a pimp.
bargain with the sex.
They can bargain with sex,
absolutely.
or
You
they
saw-
can tell
oh,
another
they
pimp what's
traffic,
going
so
on.
they're part of that
So you
too.
understand
Absolutely.
how you're lured in?
We have a phone call. Caller, you watch Sistah Talk TV show. Say hello to my sisters from Black Lives Matter.
Hey, Sister Talk.
Hey, what's this? Who's this?
This is Crystal.
Hey, Crystal, what's
I'm
happening?
not going to be long-winded because let these sisters talk. They put the info out there. We got to hear. But one thing I wanted to say, I was on the bus the other day. Because I've been bullied. I'm an adult being bullied. So I was crying earlier. So I had a tear in my eye. This young girl on the bus said to me, young black girl, she said, "Are you okay? I see a tear." We got off at the same stop. I said, "Yes." She said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I'm being bullied. I've been in a serious situation today, and it was really upsetting." She said, "Oh, wow. The same thing's happening with me." I said, "Really?" We started talking. She was in the 7th grade. lives in a nice development not too far from where I live.
Okay.
She says she's being bullied. My whole point in bringing her up is I, gave her some food for thought and so forth. And so I'm only bringing it out to say that we have to talk to our children.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I told you on your last show about this thing, when you're a parent, you're here with your child. You have that divine sequence with your baby that nothing can take from that. And that's how we have to connect with our children. This young girl, she saw something in me.
Did she tell you what was happening with her?
She said she's being bullied.
She didn't go
And I
into
told her that
detail at all.
She didn't get specific.
Right.
But she said, I told her that she has to get with someone like her parents or caregivers. She's got to tell someone.
But she
gotta
told
tell
you
somebody.
though. Hold
Right,
on,
right.
Cora. Let me get you though. Let me help you here. This is where the help is right there from the community. She told you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that sometimes we don't like to get in people's business. That's our problem. She told you. You could have said, well, here is my number, or can I call your parent,
Yeah,
or what's your
also,
relationship with
I
your
told her that.
parent or
And
your caregiver? How
she- 'cause I said,
comfortable?
oh, you live over there? I named the development. It's a beautiful building. She said, how you know I live over there? I said, no, I don't know you live there. I just, that's the stop we got off right near her to where she lives.
All right.
And
Okay.
she
Or
came
ask her,
to
does
a
she
visit.
take the route a
came
lot?
back.
Right.
She came back, and she did tell me she was being bullied. Now, you know what? I have to say this point. I asked her, during the course of the caregiver asked you, how was school today? Do you have homework? Let's sit down and talk. If that's not happening, in a week span, you approach them. They're going to have to start doing that.
Good.
All right,
good.
thank you, Crystal. You know,
Amazing.
you made a good point, E. You made a good point that people have to reach out.
Oh,
You have to
yeah.
reach out. However, I'll be real, I'm keeping it real. I used to be a substitute teacher, and I know not so great parents. You know, if you call them and tell them what's going on.
Oh, you can't
and
say
all
not so
that.
great parents.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no.
That's it. No, I'm serious.
You can't
And
say not so
they
great
wanna get, you want to
parents.
get a beat down. Maybe they don't want to call their parent. Maybe they can, and that's why you're here. Give them a number to call. These people can help you.
This is the thing. People, I have to go back. I mean, we got to put a lot of judgments on people in parenting. I mean,
But some people are not equipped to do that.
but we have to determine that in a different way.
We need to
Right.
have empathy
We
and
have to
understand the
empathy.
reasons why
Right.
there's not so great parents. That's why we kind of like, whoa, yes, some parents you don't want to deal with.
No,
but,
you
but
don't.
you have
You
to
don't.
be. You have
But
to
somebody
have
can deal with
empathy.
them. I believe
That's-
someone can.
that's what I'm
You might
talking
not be the
about.
one.
That's what I'm
So
talking
that's why
about.
you pass
Yeah.
it off. You know,
You pass
you've
it
ever seen that
on.
situation where it's like a tag team on a kid? That's why it says it takes a village to raise a child.
Right, right.
Everybody is somebody's village, okay?
Right.
And you don't know what part you play in it. So do
Right.
not overlook and say, look, maybe for me, because remember, you have to understand your frustration state. You have to think about your level of tolerance,
Right.
Your level of empathy. You
Right.
might not be able to. Maybe you get just step one. But you know what? That's why I have somebody like Tony D. Rivera. I have Tanya Tucker from GEMS. I have some champions, Reverend Q. I have some champions, Kim Dennis, who I can pass the ball to, and they can make that home run.
And I got you.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
So calling,
Sure.
so calling me is not necessarily where you're going to get all the
Right,
things. What
right.
you're going to be able to do is, if you do get in touch with Black Lives Matter of Greater New York,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a story, you have something that you need to say, then you write us. You let us know, and we will respond with the proper response.
Absolutely.
And with the experts.
212-757-1393. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Like I said, these people are here to help you. The sisters are here to help you. 212-757-1393.
Also, wanted
go
to
ahead.
stress organ trafficking is something that we have to discuss.
Yes.
Because the black woman's body, the black girl's body, is compatible with every single race out there. So picture this. I'm an older man. I am in my 60s. I have a need for a kidney. I'm told I need to go on a waiting list. That's for 12 years. I have all the money in the world. Am I going to wait 12 years? Or am I going to have someone go and snatch someone out there who has the organs that I need? And then basically that's what's happening too. The disappearance factor is so large that yes, human trafficking, yes, sex trafficking, but there's also an aspect of organ trafficking. I saw on social media the other day, there was a flyer and it said, need a kidney? Call this number. Will be delivered in 24 hours. Where is it coming from?
Where
It's-
did you see this?
It's on social media. I'm on social media quite often, and I noticed a flyer out there.
There's
Telling
just a
people
flyer
a flyer stating, call this number if you're looking for a kidney and you need one.
So
Within
they're looking
24
for
hours.
victims, actually, yeah.
Basically, they're telling the people that if you are on a waiting list, I have a friend of mine, I run charity races for a friend of mine. Every single so often, I run to bring awareness to kidney disease, kidney awareness. She's been waiting for a kidney for 12 years. This year, she's on the top of the list. She waited 12 years. Not everyone's going to do that.
Right.
So if I'm rich, I'm white, and I don't want to wait 12 years, I need to know where to go. So there are
Right.
people being snatched up. No one's heard from them ever again. There is an actual athlete a couple years ago was found, okay? Great athlete was found. Organs missing, stuff with newspapers.
Yeah, no, that was in the South.
Right,
Yeah,
and but
this
the point
is
is
still
that
happening
it's
today.
happening today, and
Today.
that's the problem.
It's still happening
this is
today.
the ultimate. This is the problem with all of it. When it comes to black people in America, the enslaved Africans,
Yes.
our stories are not told. The narrative is changed to something very negative. And therefore there is no empathy for us to find out, well, you're asking how are they missing? I'm saying, well, ask the authorities. That's their job, is missing persons. We have ID channel. How many ID channels has something about sex trafficking on there? And there's stories all over this world about them. I have not seen Tony D. Rivera's story on ID channel. I have not. So you can't tell me ID is one of the major networks, and they do not have anything about black people. It's always somebody else. But it's happening to us, so therefore we can't control it because we're part of the problem, because a lot of us that are black and brown are the traffickers because we're making money. Do you understand? It's a touchy subject.
It's very touchy.
And we're tampering with people money.
212-757-1393. 212-757-1393. They're talking about you. The platform is here. Call in. Nobody knows who you are. 212-757-1393. So how did you all get into this? You know, you did this before these images from Washington, D.C., the pictures became viral.
Yeah.
Oh, let me just say
Okay.
something, since you mentioned Washington, D.C. Now, we all remembered January 21st, there was a big march in Washington, a women's march. Big millions.
But did y'all go?
Oh, we didn't go to that. I didn't go to that
Oh,
one.
no.
I
Didn't go. But as a
I
woman,
got slapped, but hey.
No,
go ahead.
we're not on the agenda. I'm not going to something I'm not on the agenda. This should have been on the agenda because this deals with our children,
Absolutely.
our women. And it does deal with boys too. I don't want to X them out because if you're a mother of all. Okay.
Absolutely,
So you
absolutely.
went to the march?
But the thing is, the march happened on January 21st, and women of all religious, cultural, ethnic backgrounds attended this march. Okay? Let's fast forward a little bit more. Then there was an issue with the girls missing in D.C. So there was a town hall. Within the town hall, the only people that showed up in the town hall were people who were of African American descent. Where were the white women? Where were the Spanish women? Where were the Asian women from the march in January? That is a blatant statement right there that says we do not care about you. So therefore, we're going to care about our own.
That said a lot, because when I looked at the march on TV, first I thought it was a black women's march. I'm gonna be very honest, because I saw black people entertaining, I saw them singing, I saw them doing spoken word.
Yeah, they use us.
I saw
We make a good
all
show.
of that. I said,
We're
oh,
entertainers.
was this a black women's march? I was serious, I really was. And like you said, when black kids were missing, they weren't there to be found.
That's the problem. That's,
And that's not right, yeah.
When we saw
We're all
that, we were like,
connected, yeah.
we were like, you know what? They don't seem to care. So you know what? They don't want to bring awareness to this. We're going to do that. So we came up with this march. We came up with it.
So when did you all come?
After we saw what happened with that situation, I said, well,
With-
it
with
appears
the,
with the fact that people were not taking
was
this
no
seriously.
awareness.
There was no awareness at all.
We're
I said, well,
invisible.
yeah, I
We
said,
don't-
so
we
we're
don't
Black
matter.
Charismatic, we're in New York. We're
And
going to bring
we
this
know
to
it
the forefront.
matters. And let me tell you something. Before that, when I got phone calls on personal phone calls about what's happening in our community, symposiums that are happening in Harlem, which was packed, where they had experts that said, yes, it's happening in your backyard. It's happening right here in this radius. That was a major eye-opener for a lot of people in the community. But I was already convinced because I have empathy. I have a level of empathy that you won't believe.
I believe you.
Okay? So basically, I believe it because I know it. That could have been me. That could have been me. It could have been me. And I come from a, what? Two-parent home? So it has nothing to do with anything. It has a lot to do with what are we looking for? What questions are we asking? Do I think that I matter?
And also the media socializes not to believe that this doesn't happen to us. This doesn't happen to black people. This doesn't happen to black families. Let me tell you, the media really do play a major role in how we see things. I can be walking in the hood with a bunch of dudes, black dudes, and I feel completely safe. I was the type of person who go out late at night. I got to my building. I saw a white man in a trench coat. I said, hold up. Hold up, this is the Lifetime stories.
Yeah.
I turned right around and I went down the block to the Walgreens. That's 24 hours. Because that's how my media has socialized me from my mama watching all them Lifetime movies, right? But you know, it was kind of like a flip side to it, the same way. So it's still the same thing.
So you all been doing this way before this big thing happened in Washington, D.C. How
So you talking about trafficking?
Yeah,
So-
well, just not such trafficking, dealing with runaways. Okay, granted.
keep
let's
saying
talk about-
runaways. I
well,
want you
the
to stop
missing
saying
person,
that.
missing person
Because
and
it's
runaways.
not cool, because you could be running away to go to a new country. You could be running a new experience. I mean, how
No,
do we
no, no, not
categorize
as
that?
children, not as children.
You have to
As
understand.
children,
No, not
yes.
as
As children, yes, because a child could
but
be
what
in a
if they
home.
are runaways?
Well, you
That
have to
doesn't
understand.
But if they
negate
are
the
runaways,
fact, yeah.
many of the children who run away become victims of
Yeah,
sex
extra-
trafficking.
actually.
But
So
also,
it
you
was-
say
if you
runaways in
wanna-
a precinct, and they don't stop. They stop looking for your
That's
child.
my point.
You can't
That's
say
my point.
runaways.
But you have this little girl here, I think she was in North Carolina, that went off with her teacher, and she was considered a runaway, wasn't
Because
she?
they consider them a runaway doesn't mean that we have to. We have
Right.
to frame the
Yeah.
agenda
Agenda.
in a way that is real and a way that is positive for our people. We have to let the world know
But
how
so they're just missing. in
She
your
was
eyes.
abducted by her teacher. She was coerced, lured into going somewhere with a teacher, older man. There's authority, there's power here. Okay? You cannot tell me she's a runaway. We do that, and guess what they do? They stop looking
and they
Right.
place the blame back
on the
that
victim.
child.
And when they find her, what does everybody say? Oh, she went away with that man. She was promiscuous anyway. She was out there. That's where our problem is. If she was promiscuous, I'm going to ask you, how did she get there? How did she get there?
All right.
Right? That's how I'm at. I'm at where's the how did you get there? Because the bottom line is we don't ask those questions and we don't understand where her mind is at, her development is at, and what's happening in that
has happened.
home.
And what has happened to her
help.
family.
It's hard to even help. You can't even help a child if you don't listen to a child. And we have to sometimes say the hard things with caregivers. I don't know if you know, but in ACS there's a thing called debt, a debt case. A debt case means that it's a parent or a caregiver that has sold their child to a landlord for rent. These cases are happening all over New York State. And guess what? They say to the parent, here's some parenting classes, take the kid out the home for a while, then they put them back together, one big happy family. And if that kid runs away, I do not blame him or her. Why would you stay there? Where can you go?
And when a child runs
But
away,
where can you go, though? When can you
We
go,
have safe
though?
havens for people to go to.
It's
you know,
hard
this
for children.
happens.
That's the point. If you're a child and I run away from home because I don't like my stepfather or somebody's bothering me or I'm bullied in my home, you go to the street and who's there to catch you? Maybe there needs to be street teams out here with
so.
with runaways, and this happens, or homeless youth, evicted youth, right? Because we have a lot of homelessness and our population
Right.
is getting younger and younger. So
Right.
maybe there should be street teams out on the street late at night in these
agree.
different places.
We have Tony
Be great.
D. Rivera here, and I want her to come up and tell her story. Could you escort her to the mic and behind the cameras, though? Yes. Thank you for coming on the show. I know we talked on the phone, but we didn't have time enough to really get into her story. Tony D. Rivera,
Hey,
you're from
Tony.
Washington.
Hello, how are you?
I know that you work with Black Lives Matter and so forth. You were a sex trafficking victim yourself also. You could you come closer to the mic, yeah.
I was also a recruiter.
You was also
I
a
used to take kids also.
Okay, let's start from the beginning. How did you become a victim?
I ran away.
You ran away. Why did you run away?
I went back home because I was being molested.
You was being
I was
molested.
being molested, so it's
By
like
whom?
My stepfather and cousins.
Your stepfather and your cousins?
Yes.
Your
so
blood
it's-
cousins?
Yes, it's just like these ladies are saying. You can't say runaways.
Okay.
You can't, because I ran away because it was a problem in my home. But once my mom made me feel better and I thought the problem was resolved, I went back.
How did she make you feel better?
She put him out.
She put him out?
Put him out for a while.
So when you came back
I came
home,
back.
and so what happened when you came back?
I went down to the Freak Meet down in Atlanta with some friends. I met this gentleman by the name of Carlos
Okay,
down in Atlanta, and I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be an actor.
right.
So he took me off to the studio and came in a lot of, it was like a lot of celebrities, a lot of rappers there that night. And when I was there, you know, I'm thinking I'm in the studio about to sign a deal, about to do my
Right.
thing and dance and singing. Next thing I know, I had to sleep with 6 guys that night
You had to sleep with them
in order for him to take me back to my room.
in order for you to take,
Yeah.
so they really raped you, right? That
When
was
there's
rape,
drugs involved, you can't say rape. I was drugged.
but that's rape.
I don't call it rape because
You don't call it rape.
I don't call it rape because I was at that age. I knew what I was doing, and I was told that if
How
I
old
did
were
this,
you?
17. I was told if I did this, I would get far ahead in life, and that's why.
That's why you did that.
Yeah, and in my book I talk about that. You know, everybody says the music industry don't have a part in this. The music industry has a big part in this, a big
Okay.
part, because the guys that I was sleeping with, the rappers, they knew nothing of me being into sex trafficking. Knew nothing. They just thought I was just groupie that wanted to get on, wanted to be a video vixen, and it wasn't that. It wasn't
So-
that at all.
So how did you get into sex trafficking? I have to because of time.
He wined and dined. Made
Carlos?
me feel as though he was my boyfriend.
Okay.
Gave me everything.
Right.
Until we got to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm thinking I was the #1 chick, and I wasn't. I get to a hotel room. It was this young lady there in the hotel room, and all these clothes laid out on the bed, and she said, "Get dressed. We got to go shopping." So in my mind, shopping is going
Money.
shopping for clothes and shoes. No. That night I was at a strip club called the Players Den in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I had to turn on my Southern charm to recruit more girls. That next morning we got up. It was 4 other girls in the room.
So when you recruited those girls, did you voluntarily recruit the girls, or did they force you? I'm just trying to get.
During this
what
time, it was forceful
It was
because
forceful.
he took my ID, he took like everything, and to back up, to rewind from that. Like I said, he was my boyfriend. I thought he was my boyfriend,
Right.
so I had took him home to meet everybody in my family.
Right.
So he knew everything about me.
Right.
And once I got back to Charlotte, the rug was pulled from under me. Like if I don't do it, I know how to reach a family.
So
But it was-
he threatened to hurt your family?
Oh yeah, and this one time, he actually was in my mother's yard
Talking, yeah,
talking
really.
to my brothers. He
So
was-
how did you get out of this? I'm sorry to rush you.
I got out through my ex-husband. He came over to the house one night, and where they had me housed there, it was called the Stable. I
Right.
was there with a family who was on drugs, so he would supply them drugs in order to keep all the girls there, the girls that he had kidnapped or that was, recruited to keep us there. And no one was there that night, by the grace of God. And my ex-husband came in because the lady who I was staying with, her brothers was there. He was friends with her brother, not knowing that all these girls was there. We was kidnapped or taken. And he asked me that I want to go to the movies. And I said, yeah. And like I said, by the grace of God, my stuff was on the counter in the room, my ID, and I just grabbed what I could, and I left and went to the movies. And he told me, well, I got to take you back because I'm leaving in the morning to go to Philadelphia. And I was like, I'm going with you. And I left.
Thank you, Tony. Do we have the video ready? Ask him, do we have the video ready? Okay, the video's not ready. But we do have a phone call. Caller, you watching Sistah Talk TV show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Coley Clark. I'm calling from New York City, Judicial Violence Symposium, getting ready for the Left Forum with a panel, Scary Tales from the Hood, the War on Black Women and Girls in the United States. And I got to have you there, Sister Talk. We cannot do this without you.
Oh.
It is time that we accept that we've been warred on, and I do understand that we think it's just beginning, but it is not. This is an old war that began on the coast of Africa when they threw us on ships.
Yes, yes, yes.
They brought us in here, they have damaged us, they have abused us, and we keep saying it's somebody else. It's not somebody else. It's us that they're abusing. And it's not us that's responsible. This is a war. We're
That's
going to have
right.
to accept it as a war.
Systematic.
So I welcome you to the Left Forum the first weekend in June.
Okay. Thank you.
First weekend in June.
All right.
Please come. The war on black women and girls.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have anything else you want to say, Tony?
I want to reinforce what these ladies are saying about the runaways. Don't call them runaways because they stopped looking for us. And I say us because that's what my mom called me at that time, a runaway. And they stopped looking for me. We're not runaways. We're missing. We're missing. We're actually missing. We're being taken. Men are the only abusers.
That's right.
Women are also. Right. I was one. I have a documentary that I'm supposed to start shooting soon. It's going to be called I Took Your Children.
Let me ask you this. What words did you use to recruit other teenagers or
It's
other
not
girls?
words.
But what
It's
did you do?
actions.
What did you do?
You just have to pay attention to things that you see that they want.
Okay.
And when I would take someone from Greyhound,
Right.
I see her face, I see her demeanor. I know she had a low self-esteem, so it's got to be something that she want. And if she's getting off the bus, that person's not there, I'm going to go up to her until I can help her.
Right,
in church,
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
I would go to churches and see kids
You would go to
there.
churches too.
Yeah, I would see.
And you know something? You have a great angelic face.
Exactly.
You're beautiful.
Your beautiful face.
That's what he
and-
would tell me. He
Yeah.
used to call me Southern Belle. I
Right.
would turn on my Southern charm. I would go to
Soft
churches.
spoken and everything.
Exactly. See the kids, see the teenagers. I never took anyone under the age of 16 because I couldn't bring myself to do it. I would see them praying at the pews. I would go every other Sunday because my family is a Christian family. I come from a church background. Mother, aunt is a preacher, whole nine. So I would go to churches just to see who was going to be there, how many times they was going to go to the pew, how many times they was going to be there praying, looking in their faces, seeing that desperateness that, okay, they're asking God for something, and he ain't delivering it. So that's my time to move in.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Tony.
much. You know, we have a little bit time left. I want to talk about prevention. What can the parents or the siblings or the caretakers look for? We touched on that earlier, but we really didn't get into that. What can they look for? You mentioned
You have
makeup.
to communicate. You have to communicate with your children. You can't just have a hard day's work, come home, and to just, disconnect. You have to make the time to speak to your children. There is a void there. There's a missing piece, a missing part that they need. Like the lady who called earlier about the bullying. That girl is on the bus talking to a stranger about bullying. Why aren't the parents informed of this? The parents have to understand it's not about them, but you have to make the time to communicate with your child and listen to your child, or the wrong person will. Make sure that you're observant. What's different with them? Why are they acting this way? Get to be, not to say your child's best friend, but get to mother and get to father before someone else does that and before it is too late.
Yes. Yes, you want to
Oh,
piggyback
yeah.
that?
I'm a mother of 3, so I know how hard it is to stay connected. But it's definitely necessary. Get in their business. It's your job.
Just get in their business.
Yes.
Right.
That's your job as a
Yes.
mom, and they need to know that you're gonna be in their business. But it also has to be in a good way. I always tell my daughter, you better not make a mistake. You better not go out there and mess up in school and have someone else tell me before you do.
Do you think these some of the children, because we have everybody working right now and so forth, and there's not enough time to really pay attention to them, do you think that some people, because they don't have time, are not really not really paying attention to them, and these perpetrators or predators, how you say
Predators?
that? Predators, yeah, can jump in and
There's not
and
enough
take
time,
them.
there's not enough community. Because when I'm stressed, she knows my daughter. Oh, why you got your head down? Why you
So
sulking?
it's good to have
the
that
teachers
sister
in the
friend.
school.
Yes. It
Know
takes a
the
village. It
kids. The
takes a
teachers spend
village.
more time, sometimes more time with the children than their own parents do.
Social media is another way that you look at social media, and I was telling there's an app called Musicality, where one of the girls that came to our march heard about this whole thing. She was just listening. She's a little girl. She's 9 years old. She's listening. She went to another thing about social media safety, learning about that, and then she told her mother finally that a 56-year-old man approached her on Musicality, and that's a app where they do their own music video to the music, so it's
Musically.
really, really fun. Musically, right? Musically it's called. And so she finally told her mother, she said, Mom, I was listening. I blocked him. Now, what's the next step for the parent? But she now felt it was okay to tell her mother that I blocked him.
You have to have the conversation.
So that social media, the chat rooms, the apps, it's like telling someone, what's the rule? If I'm not home, no company. Now, when somebody comes to your inbox, that's rude. You didn't ask for them. If someone comes to your inbox you don't know, you tell me. They're coming to our house unannounced.
Should these kids be on social media?
Yeah, social media is a part of our life. It's a part of our life. We have to navigate
15,
it.
16
You have
years
to
old.
navigate it like everything else. But you cannot say that someone's not going to be talking to your child more than you're talking to your child.
My
You gotta-
brother doesn't let his 15, 16-year-old get
Guess
on
what?
social
what
media.
happens when
There's
you're
a
22?
library.
Right.
There's an internet cafe. So you may not have to let anyone do anything on their phone or in the
Right.
house, but when she goes to the library,
Library.
or when she goes to the cafe, or when she borrows a friend's phone, she's on there.
Oh, let's say she's very obedient and she doesn't do that. But what happens when she's 22 and now she's able to do this? She has to have the skills to know that, oh, someone popped up in my chat room. Okay, how do I handle this?
So you say just let them do that.
The parents
Let
are
them do it
training
and
for
monitor it.
adulthood.
Monitor it and say, this is what you do. You know, you can be there as a parent and you can basically be there with the child and say, you know, this is what happens. You can show them social media examples in which somebody, you know, went the wrong way and this is what happened.
There's
Be
teachable
there.
moments. If someone doesn't
Teach.
get a like, right, and you say, well, wait a minute, if you like yourself, it doesn't matter how many likes you get. Let's talk about that. I can big up and get a bunch of likes for you. We're going to talk about these likes. How you feeling? So if you say, what's going on with social media? If you notice that the kid is on social media and it has drastically changed their behavior and they can't move from one frustration state to another, that's when you really need to think about help. If it's changing their demeanor, they got on, they were so happy, and all of a sudden it's, and then you have to ask what's happened, what's wrong, and they don't move through that state, you got to start to think about this is impacting my child, and how do I work with that? Because they've got to learn how to move through these different frustration states, these different emotional states, their adolescent development. That's just
Okay.
natural.
All right, time is running out. I told you time goes by fast. People are watching, they are listening. Hey, I want to thank Zaki, Z-Star Man, for creating
Thank you, Z.
Sistah Talk TV show. I want to thank stage manager Marie, Nikki Sunshine. I want to thank her. My assistant Beverly. Who else is in the control room? Everybody forgot you. I just want to thank you all. Also, this is Deetra Kelsey, host of Sistah Talk TV show. And as always, I am wishing you, before I say that, I got to stretch it out, right? They tell me stretch it out. Listen to these sisters. How can they get in contact with you all quickly?
BLM_NY@gmail.com.
Okay. Say it again.
BLM_NY@gmail.com.
Although you did not call today, I know that you all were listening. You missing children out there or children that want to be missed, before you do that, contact them. Or
Please
call
do.
me.
Please do.
646-231-1231. SistahTalk@gmail.com. This is Deetra Kelsey. As always, I'm wishing you peace, love, and remember to stay in the light.
Yes.
Well, what I want viewers to get when they watch our program is a perspective that they're not getting from the general media.
To uplift our people by giving them information that they might not hear from what they would consider primary sources.
We're from the same community. We go to the same places to eat. We go to the same places to worship. So we also look at things from their perspective.
Community Cop, live Tuesday at 5 p.m. MNN1.
Hi, this is Deetra Kelsey, host of Sistah Talk televised
p.m. on MNN1. On Sister Talk, we feature beautiful, intelligent sisters and brothers too, from the world of entertainment, politics, music, health and wellness, and so much more. Watch Sister Talk, televised live Saturdays at 2 p.m. on MNN1. Sister Talk, we're more than just talk.
Well, look who's here. It's you. Gotcha. How you doing? Well, another Saturday, and I hope that you folks are having a good one. I hope that you're keeping up with the news, and that is what is important. One of the big reasons why low-income people, on the one hand,